Hey everybody, welcome back to USARK channel. I'm your channel host, Garrett Hartle, and this week we're actually with the president of USARK, Phil Goss, who just got back from Washington, D.C. Isn't that right, Phil?
Yes, indeed. Just back from a trip to fabulous Washington, D.C.
Gotta love it. Welcome home. How was the trip?
It was busy. As most people think, probably assume what lobbyists do. So it was meeting with legislators. We had attorney meetings too. One day we actually walked. This was a great time. It was low 90s in DC. Sometimes we're hopping in and out of different buildings and wearing a suit and dress shoes and walking 6 miles and
With a ton of
sometimes 90-degree
humidity
heat.
and
Yeah, time
oh
of
my
my
gosh.
life. But hey, it's important stuff, so it had to be done.
Well, we do have a little bit of an update. Nothing crazy has happened yet, but as far as deadlines go, you were telling me like right now is the time. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, so there was a big push to kind of get this bill reconciled before the 4th of July break, which actually starts tomorrow for most members of Congress and runs through the 8th or 9th of July when they come back. So it doesn't look at all like that's going to happen. There's still a very slim chance, but they're still, again, merging these two bills together. So right now, today and over the weekend, just use the new alert that we posted. It literally takes, you can do it in less than 30 seconds. You just enter your name, your email, and your address. It finds your legislators for you and sends a message off to them. You can even record a little video clip. You can call them, which calling offices is huge. All that stuff is right there in that alert, and we made it so simple for you to do.
We're going to put that link. That's the very top thing that you see in the description of this video because like Phil is saying, right now is the time. If you have done it, if you haven't done it, do it, right?
Exactly.
So just for clarity on what's going on, can you explain a little bit to us? So they're going to go on break. They're trying to decide before they go on break. But even if they don't, what comes next?
When they come back from the 4th of July break, they're only going to have about 3 weeks before their August recess starts. So it's really going to be a push after this 4th of July break to come back and get something done, because the reason for this bill, the thing the bill is focusing on, technology and microchips and all that stuff, is hugely important for America right now. I mean, we're not making enough cars. There's all kinds of things involved. So the House and Senate need to come together to get, what is germane to this bill decided on and passed. And then unfortunately, the House is trying to add some of the extra stuff that was in the America Competes Act onto that. And that's what we're trying to keep out of it. So this bill is a hugely important bill. And then one more time, we're trying to keep these Lacey Act amendments out of this technology bill.
So just to break that down for you guys, Phil, when you're saying that there's a lot of parts that were non-germane, this bill as a whole, like it, love it, hate it, or whatever, it is important to both sides. It's a bipartisan bill, or supposed to be, that they're trying to pass to help America's economy. Now, the House bill that passed already went through, and the House had added a whole bunch of special interest things. In other words, hey, the government's going to be spending money. Let's get some of that money. Why not give some more authority to ourselves in the process and what have you? I'm grossly paraphrasing here, right? But for the understanding of everybody, is that accurate enough?
You're spot on. So yeah, there's what we'll just call the core of this bill, which is, again, technology, semiconductors, chips, all that stuff. That's the core of this bill. When it passed the House, it was 3,610 pages. That's a lot of pages. The Lacey Act amendments were less than 4 pages of that. So that's what you got to take away from that is, again, there's the core part of the bill. That's the bulk of it. That's important, bipartisan. Both sides care about it. America should care about it. We need something to pass, but we want to keep these bad Lacey Act amendments out of it.
And these are bad amendments. So one thing I see in the comments section is people saying, well, I don't know, I do care about the environment. And the funny thing is a lot of responses that our viewers have gotten back from their senators or House of Representatives are saying, no, I care about the environment. These Lacey Act amendments are bad for the environment. They're bad for pet keepers. They're bad for conservation. They're bad for scientists. They're bad for zoos. They're not well thought out. It's something that they should probably think of, do a little bit of research on the side before they decide how to help. They're being stuffed into this bill so that they can be pushed through quickly. Now, the good news for us, as you were saying, is that when that House version made it to the Senate, not just the Lacey Act, but tons and tons of other stuff was packed into this bill that they knew were going to be tried to pass quickly. They're trying to do it overnight while everyone's eyes are closed, basically. And the Senate saw that and were like, what the heck are you doing? We're shooting this down. So that House bill is actually dead in the water as it stands. And the Senate said, you guys got to get some of this stuff out so that we can pass the germane part, the part that matters, right? And that's what they're working on now. The Senate is saying, take more of the special interest stuff out. The House is saying, no, we want lots and lots of that stuff in.
Yeah, the Senate rejected the House version of it. So that sounds good, and it sounds like we don't have any more concerns. But again, they're merging the two versions of the bill. So there's always a chance that the House could add some of that stuff that was in their bill into it. But as you said, the America Competes Act, as it passed the House, is not going to pass in the form that it passed the House in.
That's the version that has these Lacey Act amendments, which are bad for everybody, guys. And that's what the House likes, that and all the other junk that they have in there. The Senate has their version without any of that stuff, and the House is saying, nah, we're not going to let that go through because we want more stuff in there. And the special committee is kind of duking it out to see what stays and what goes.
You got it.
And they want that done now. So if you want to continue to educate, believe it or not, guys, there are people on this committee that still have not heard, they don't understand that these Lacey Act amendments are bad. Heck, some of the commenters on our YouTube channel think it might be a good thing. You know what I mean? But this has nothing to do with your stance on reptiles as pets or anything. It's such a huge, far-reaching amendment that it cannot be passed. It would be bad for the U.S. economy, bad for all those other things if it passes as stands. We got to do this. We got to do it now because they're trying to pass it. So if it doesn't happen before their August recess, we're getting pretty late in the year.
Yeah, because it's an election year, so people are going to be worried about that in their campaigns, and a lot of this stuff is going to go by the wayside. So yeah, especially when they come back from this 4th of July recess, if they don't come to a compromise before then, it's going to be hot and heavy when they get back. Because again, this isn't the only issue. There's a lot of problems in America that they're looking at right now.
Basically, all we want to do as the reptile community is create enough of an argument over the 4 pages in the Lacey Act that they're like, okay, guys, we're not going to resolve this in enough time. Let's cut that part out of this bill. It has nothing to do with what this bill is about anyway. We'll pass the bill or not pass the bill, either way. And then they can bring that up again later somewhere else, somehow else, maybe actually look at what they're doing before it happens.
Yeah, I mean, the Lacey Act amendments are a big deal. If that is going to pass, that needs to be its own bill. It needs to go through committee. It needs to be discussed. None of that stuff happened this time around. And for those people who don't fully understand the issue, again, please go to USARK.org and look at it. One of the biggest issues, as Garrett touched on earlier, these are very localized issues. These are not United States issues. These may be issues for Hawaii, or it may be an issue for Guam, or it may be an issue for Southern Florida. Those localities, territory, states can deal with these issues. It's not something the federal government should be intervening in.
But the implications are huge. I mean, besides shutting down my Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania-based business, right? It's going to have implications, like we said, scientific community, conservation community, all across the board.
Yeah, all kinds. With the salamander listing, even a bunch of scientific researchers were upset about the salamander.
They're screaming.
Is injurious. Yeah. So all kinds of issues with this.
Yeah, crazy. Now, I do want to ask you, did you see, we've got this little bit of a competition, kind of pet YouTubers jagging with each other on the channel here now. It happened accidentally. Brian Cusco made a video, and then he called out Clint's Reptiles and challenged him to make a video for USARK. I'm a
weirdo. I saw it. I'm a weirdo.
Yeah.
You're good. One more weirdo.
I think the stuff is great, though. And what I'm excited about it, and for those of you guys wondering why we're doing that stuff, us having a higher subscribership on this channel helps represent the reptile industry well on social media. That number really counts more for that than anything else, right? This channel is not about USARK trying to make a bunch of money off YouTube. It's about USARK having a platform to get important alerts out. In the meantime, I am really enjoying my favorite reptile YouTubers coming on, showing their support. I think Clint just called out M. Zodic next, and I don't know who's coming after that. but it's starting a pretty fun little chain of event that hopefully like Clint can make that video and then point his followers to this channel and help boost a little bit of support for us animal lovers out there. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, it's great. It's great to see that, because then people actually realize who all is affected by the stuff that USARK works on. You know, it's not just big snake keepers, or it's not just whatever the Endangered Species Act issue is. There are a lot of people that are affected by this, including the, YouTubers and social media content creators. It's pretty expansive. So it's great to see them doing this, because let's face it, Garrett, as much as I kind of like you, if it was just you and I on here talking, nobody's going to watch. Who wants to sit around and listen to us talk about critically important
that's been proven.
issues?
That's a proven fact.
For everybody that does do our alerts and follow USARK, thank you. It's so important. This YouTube channel is just another way to get this information out there.
And then you think about like all the people, kids, families, everything that they help to entertain and educate during COVID lockdowns and all the madness of this world, bringing people back to that little piece of connection with nature that we all love about wildlife and animals so much, has been huge to even combat, just things like mental health that have problems gone through the roof in our country today. All of that are ramifications of this little bill. I'm not trying to like oversell it or anything, but I think if you're in my shoes, it's absolutely a reality that this is has devastational implications.
Totally legitimate. I mean, your interview with Joe was great. I mean, it was spot on. And on top of people who have been investing in businesses, I mean, just people with pets. You may have one pet snake at home, or lizard, or whatever species you have, and even if it's a parrot or a ferret, and something like this passes, and you have to worry about possibly not being able to move to another state and keep your pet that you may go home to. I mean, some people get relaxation out of sitting on the couch and watching TV with their pet snake. That's what some people enjoy. So whatever it is, this affects a lot more than just businesses. Last week when I was in DC, we could tell the offices who had been contacted by more people who were affected by this than those who had not. I mean, some were just super intent. And if they hadn't heard from as many as their constituents, then it takes a little bit longer for us to get our message through. So it was very apparent which legislators had been hearing from their constituents and which ones hadn't. And it takes big numbers. This is a federal issue. We need tens of thousands of people contacting them. USARK made it super easy. As we've said 6 times now, you can literally send out emails to your 3 federal legislators in less than 30 seconds using this. And also include a video message and call their offices if you can spend a whole 1 or 2 minutes on it.
Well, I just wanted to thank you for, before we go out to the weekend, I know traveling DC, that sounds absolutely miserable. I can't imagine running around in a suit and tie and talking to a bunch of lawyers in 90-degree weather and 100% humidity. So kudos to you, man. I know that I'm sitting here in our little air-conditioned studio, doing our little part for the USARK thing, but you've been making it happen the whole time. So I appreciate your efforts, and you guys just help me come alongside Phil in this battle. You can sit in your air-conditioned thing, hit the like button, subscribe, the little notification bell, so that when something important comes up, you can see it. And again, in 30 seconds or less, you can actually show your support where it matters most by clicking that link in the description.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Phil. Everybody have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Good night, America.
Oh, try again.
Let's try again. You didn't like that one? Good night, America.
Ooh, he nailed it.